Hello, happy 2016. I know it's probably about a fortnight into the new year now, but I've not done a new video like this one since probably early December, and I thought it was about time I showed my face and did another one. In case you're wondering, you probably know that is Sonic Adventure 2. It was the first thing that I grabbed out of my CD wallet and put into the Dreamcast, and that is Jaleco Big Run Super Famicom game. It was like £2 on eBay, so I thought I'd buy that because I don't have that many Super Famicom games. I've only got one, which is a football game that my mate gave me, and so I thought I'd best get some use out of the Retron, justify the purchase, and got a very cheap Super Famicom game. If you can see it running in the background, it's actually running in like Super Eagle mode or something. You know, it blurs the pixels, but it's still a really. I find it quite fun, to be honest. It didn't get very good review scores looking back through the internet, but yeah. Anyway, the subject of today's video is a console that I don't really speak of very often, but one that I do actually have quite a long history with, and not just the original, but also the successors as well. Basically, I own an Xbox 360. You can see that there. Interestingly, this is an Xbox 360, the second edition, but it's the matte black version. And what I did was I put my own hard drive in it because it only came with like a 4GB flash or something built into it. But I didn't want the 120 gig or whatever it was, which was kind of shiny because they just get loads of fingerprints on them. So I got the matte version and put an unofficial hard drive in it. Now the downside of that is that because the unofficial hard drive won't make a partition on it for original Xbox games, I can't play my original Xbox games on my 360. So I exclusively use it for Xbox 360 games. So because of that, I also own one of these bad boys. Now, that is taking up pretty much the entire screen, and it is an absolute beast. As you can see, it's not, well, God, it's like working out, picking these two things up. My history with the Xbox, the original Xbox, goes back to probably about a year after it first came out. When this generation came out, the Xbox, the PS2 and the GameCube, the first one I got was the PS2, and then after that I got the GameCube, got rid of that, and then for Christmas 2002, I think it was, or 2001, one or two. Either way, I was in my second year at university and it was Christmas, and my dear old mother asked me what I wanted, so I tried my luck. I said, "Mum, can I have an Xbox?" Not expecting to get one. And lo and behold, one turned up. It's not this actual one. That one went long ago. This is one I picked up recently for, I think it was about £20. And so yeah, my love affair with the Xbox started in around about 2002. And from there I went on to get an Xbox 360. And weirdly, I have a PS4 now. I don't have an Xbox One. Even though, you know, I'm not one of these people who has like an affiliation with a certain console. I was like, oh, I don't want to play that because it's crap. You know, if I could afford to have a PS4 and an Xbox One, I'd have them. Maybe not so much afford one, justify having two current gen consoles. Maybe in the future I will, but I barely play on with PS4. So I mean, if I had an Xbox One as well, it does seem like overkill, and I feel like I had to play it. But I do play on my original Xbox occasionally, and I've recently started playing on my Xbox 360 again because it lay dormant for quite a while, and I picked up a few games really cheap. I got Split Second Velocity, which is superb, and I've also started playing Max Payne 3 as well because I bought that about 2 or 3 years ago. Never actually started playing it. I think it was about £1, and just this last week actually I started playing it, and it's actually a really good game. So I've been playing that on my 360. But today I want to talk about this bad boy here. So as I said, I got my original one in about 2002, and yeah, I loved it. I had it for years. I think, when did I get rid of it? God, it must have been about 2006. Yeah, it must have been about 2006 when the Xbox 360 came out. I didn't get an Xbox 360 out. I think I just sold it. But anyway, let's talk about the Xbox and my collection of games. So I don't know if people really consider the Xbox a retro console at the moment. I mean, it's only 2016. But that said, I mean, it came out in what, 2001, 2002, so technically I suppose it is. Yeah, the games, they're quite easy to come by on like eBay and online and things, but they're getting harder and harder to find sort of in the wild, which is a bit odd considering it's not that older system and the games are like really like bountiful, plentiful, if you will. But anyway, so this is the original Xbox. There's nothing odd or unusual about this one. It's just a standard version. It's got the normal ports on the back. It's not modded in any way. The only thing that I do note about this particular one is that the drive is a bit sticky, so when I turn it on and press the eject button, sometimes it sticks halfway out, so I have to give it a good slap and then it opens. And I've actually only got one pad for this as well. I did have two, but the second one just stopped working for some reason. It was one of those clear ones. But this is the controller S, which is quite a lot smaller than the original. So people watching this, I don't know if you've seen the difference between the original controller and the controller S. Like I said, this is the controller S. It's a smaller version, and it's about the same size, roughly, as an Xbox 360 pad. So you can see there, they are quite similar in size. The differences are as well minimal. I mean, you've got double analog sticks, dual analog sticks even. You've got the same button layout and the D-pad as well, roughly in the same place. And even the kind of stalks at the bottom are kind of like roughly the same length. The only difference is that obviously on the 360 you've got like the top bumpers and the triggers, whereas on the normal Xbox you've just got the triggers, and you've also got these holes for the optional memory expansion cards that you could get. I mean, the Xbox has got an 8GB hard drive built into it, so the only reason that you would need these external memory cards is if you were, taking scores around to a friend's house, which nobody ever did. If you did, then, you are in the minority as far as I know anyway. I'm sure there'll be comments saying that I'm wrong, but I'm used to that. Right, yeah, one other thing, quickly, before I go away from the joypad, is that on the original Xbox pad, when you see one now, if you've not got any and you see them again, the bit in the middle that says Xbox on it is absolutely massive, and it doesn't. I think the first instinct people have is to press it to see if it's a button, but it doesn't do anything because it's just a piece of plastic. Whereas on obviously the Xbox 360, that central bit there is a like an on-off button. I'm not sure if it's the same on the Xbox One. I've only played one a couple of times. I'm pretty sure it is, but yeah. Before I move away from the pad. You've got the black and white buttons as well, and also the start and select buttons over here. And what is odd, when you've been playing a lot on the 360, is when you go back to playing on the original Xbox, you do have these white and black buttons, and sometimes when it says, "Oh, press white," you're like, "What? where is it?" So it's quite hard to remember sometimes that these extra buttons are down here on the bottom. Interestingly, as well, just while I'm on this subject, I just wanted to show the similarities between the Dreamcast. This is the Dreamcon wireless controller, which I've shown a couple of times in the past, and the original. I mean, even like the button, I know it's only four different colours, but they are quite similar. And they're all called X and Y, A and B. And you've got similarly placed analog and D-pads. But that's not a video about that. This isn't a video about that. Anyway, right. Games, just like I did in the Saturn one. Also, just if you're watching, I've just realised watching it, I'm wearing my my new hoodie that I got for Christmas, which is like a Gordon Freeman, what's it called, Half-Life like suit. So it's quite funky. I think it's quite cool. Anyway, right, games again. Like with the Saturn video I did, I'm just going to go through the games and quickly give a little bit of a spiel about the game and also my memories of it. So first one is Rally Sport Challenge 2. There is obviously a Rally Sport Challenge 1. I love rally games. I've got rally games coming out of my ears. I've been playing WRC 5 on the PS4 earlier on this evening, last night. I love it. And Rally Sport Challenge 2 is one of the best rally games, if not the best. Well, it's one of the best rally games on the Xbox. It looks great. Even playing it now, it's still, really, really held up well. I think a lot of the games on the Xbox, to be honest, on the original Xbox, have held up really well, even in spite of or in light of the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One, PS4, PS3. Certainly in the era that the Xbox came out, games that were designed specifically for the Xbox looked, in my opinion, a hell of a lot better than games that were on the PS2 and on the GameCube. Even like bespoke games for those systems, like Nintendo made ones for the GameCube. That is, Xbox games that were exclusive to the Xbox just looked, way better than games that were made exclusively for the other consoles. And Rally Sport Challenge is one of them. It looked great. So, well worth picking up. I will say as well, that all these games, you can get them now, like, dirt cheap, like literally less than £1 in some places. So, well worth picking up if you find them. Toka Race Driver, this is a continuation of the Toka Touring Cars series from the PlayStation. Just brilliant. It's got Codemasters, I was going to say written all over it. It's obviously on the box, but it's got like the rewind function, and you can just see the origins of like how the later games, even like the Formula One games on the new consoles with like the career modes and stuff, it all started here with Toka Race Driver. Well worth picking up if you see it cheap. Atari Anthology, again I picked that one up because it was going for nothing in a second-hand shop. It's just got things on it. Like, I'm just going to read from the back of the box. It's got 67 Atari 2600 games on it, and 18 classic arcade games. So you got things on there like Millipede, Super Breakout, Yar's Revenge, Battlezone, Tempest, Missile Command, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's good to have. It obviously doesn't make any use of the hardware, but it's good to have those just in the collection. First game I ever played on the Xbox, when my mate had got one, and I went round to his house, and the first time I ever saw one running and being played, and it just blew my mind, was this game, Halo. It doesn't really need any introduction or explanation. It's a first-person shooter where you play the Master Chief. It's just an absolutely mind-blowingly good game. I love it. I think it's great. I've got the remastered version on the 360, the Anniversary Edition. I've got 3, 4, Reach, ODST. I love them. I know people may not share my love for the game, but it does get quite repetitive. Certain levels. What's it called? The Library, possibly. The one where you meet Guilty Spark for the first time, where it's just wave after wave of flood, and you're just like, I'm sure I've been down this corridor 20 times, and it's so mind-numbingly boring. However, Halo, great game. Need for Speed Most Wanted, one of the better Need for Speed games in my opinion. My favourite is Hot Pursuit. I think it's Hot Pursuit. It's the first one that's like the originals but on the Xbox. And the only thing I don't like about this is that you can only have the one view, which is kind of from behind the car. There's no in-car view, which is a bit annoying. But again, it looks great, and is good fun to play. Burnout 3 Takedown, another one that just simply looks phenomenal. This could quite easily be a Xbox 360 game, in my opinion anyway. The game world is just so vibrant and crisp, and like this bright, the sunshine is just detail of the car models, the crashes, just fantastic. Love it. Now, when I said before that Rally Sport Challenge was probably the best rally game on the Dreamcast, on the Xbox, I corrected myself because it's actually this, Colin McRae Rally 2005. Just an absolutely stunning rally game. Right, I listened to quite a few podcasts, and one of the ones I listened to is called The Giant Bombcast, which is from Giant Bomb, funnily enough. And they were talking about rally games. It was either Giant Bombcast or the Beastcast, from the same sort of website. And the guy who was talking about rally had to kind of explain what rally was, and I'm always, a bit I always assume that everyone knows what these games are, but if you're from America and you don't know what rally is, it's kind of like point-to-point racing against the clock in really highly tuned saloon cars most of the time. Saloon cars is probably the wrong expression, but non-production versions of normal saloon cars that you can buy in a showroom. It's quite big in Europe. I'm not very sure if it's very big in the US. But yeah, Colin McRae Rally 2005 is probably the best rally game on the Xbox. Next, moving on, Ninja Gaiden, which is a ninja game. And yeah, this is one from Tecmo. It's got quite bad screen tearing, but it's still quite fun. It's quite difficult as well, sort of behind the third person camera. Moving on. Yeah, probably one of the best games on the Xbox, to be honest. It's Outrun 2. Obviously, there's an updated version, Outrun 2006. I think it's Coast to Coast or something like that. I've got it on the PS2. Don't have it on the Xbox, I don't think. Yeah, brilliant. Just power sliding round corners. Amazing soundtrack. Loads of fun. Get this game if you've not already got it for the Xbox or the PS2. Not on the GameCube though, weirdly. Just going to have a quick sip of my drink. Won't be a second. That's Old Speckled Hen Ale. Right, next one, Rainbow Six 3. This was kind of a departure from previous Rainbow Sixes because it kind of looked more like a traditional shooter. You've got your weapon on the screen rather than just like a targeting reticule. And yeah, it's quite fun. I've still got the price sticker on the back of this one. This was 99 pence. So yeah, it's a good pound well spent. Next, again, I feel like I'm repeating myself by saying this is one of the best games on the Xbox, but most of them are just like really, really good. And this is no exception to that rule. This is the Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. This was remastered, I think, and re-released on the Xbox 360 as part of the Dark Athena package. But yeah, I mean, this, as I was saying, games that were made specifically for the Xbox just look so much better than anything on the GameCube or the PS2. And if you play this game, you'll see exactly what I mean. The likeness of Vin Diesel and I think Ron Perlman's in it as well, and also I think Exhibit, the rapper Exhibit, is in it. But they look just like they do in real life. You know, it's just a brilliant stealth 'em up, and the lighting effects and the way you have to like sneak in the shadows and that kind of thing. The story, it plays like a first-person shooter more. It plays like a first-person shooter, but is actually more of an RPG. But yeah, don't take my word for it. Play this game, even if you get the 360 version. It's well worth it. Another classic, Halo 2. Many people, you know, have hang-ups about it because it kind of finished quite abruptly, but it was just more of the same, really. If Halo, it had like, you know, 2 characters instead of just the one as Master Chief. You also could play as the Arbiter, who was a member of the Covenant that went rogue. Project Gotham 2. I should have gone with Project Gotham 1 really first, but yeah, the Project Gotham series is the continuation of Metropolis Street Racer from the Dreamcast. I love MSR. I love Project Gotham. You know, it's a great series. I wish they'd, you know, resurrect it on the Xbox One. I think if Project Gotham had been like a new, like I say new, but a resurrected IP for the Xbox One, it probably would have swayed me in my decision to buy a PS4 or an Xbox One because, you know, I do love that series. And going off what they did with PGR4, PGR5 on Xbox One could be quite simply the best thing to ever happen. Midtown Madness 3, this is not actually mine, it's a friend of mine who left it at my house, so if he's watching this, he's probably not. I've still got this, Gav. If you want it back, you can come and get it. I don't know if you've got an Xbox, but yeah, it's kind of like Crazy Taxi a bit in that you're in like a sort of open world, drive around, smashing stuff up, doing missions. Next, Beyond Good and Evil. This is a 3D action adventure, highly acclaimed game. I've played it for about 2 hours, maybe. I don't know, this wasn't really my thing, but apparently it gets really good, so maybe check that out if you get the chance. Panzer Dragoon Auto. I believe this one was originally planned for the Dreamcast, and then when the Dreamcast went tits up, they transferred the game over to the Xbox. And yeah, it's again more of the same, really, that you'd expect from the series. You fly a dragon into the screen, you hold down the shoot button, target enemies, let go, and you know, multiple fire. Yeah, really good. Guilty Gear X2. I've got the original one on the Dreamcast, and again, this is more of the same. It's weird, actually. The Xbox is never really mentioned in that, you know, in the same breath as other consoles, which are deemed to be really good for 2D fighters. I mean, the Dreamcast obviously is, you know, full of them. You've got the Saturn, the Neo Geo. Excuse me. But I mean, all the ones I've played on the Xbox, and even like the PS2 as well, have been like phenomenal. The only system that really doesn't get a mention when it comes to 2D fighters is the N64, and to a lesser extent the PlayStation. But I think the Xbox has some really good ones, and that's one of them. Conflict Global Storm, I think that was about 50p. I've not really played it, to be honest. It's just a 3D third-person shoot 'em up. And the back of the box kind of reminded me of, what's it called? Freedom Fighters, which I played a lot of back in the day. And so I picked it up, and again, I think it was about 50p or something. So again, another game that's brilliant. Probably could have been done on the PS2 and the GameCube, but was an Xbox exclusive. Is this Racing Evoluzione or Evoluzione? I don't know how you pronounce that. It's a really cool racing game, but it's got a career mode where you have to build your own cars. Like you have to start up your own mark of manufacturing, and then build your own cars to race in different races. It's really cool. 4x4 Evo 2. I only really bought this one out of curiosity because I've got 4x4 Evolution on the Dreamcast, and I wanted to know how much better this one would be on the Xbox. You know, it's no surprise to learn that the graphics are a hell of a lot better, and it's got loads more tracks. The only thing is, it's got ridiculously bad screen tearing. Like, it's really noticeable when you turn. The whole screen kind of updates in like a Tetris, like it's really bad. That's the only thing that really puts me off it. Otherwise, it's quite fun and you know. Gun Griffin, Allied Assault, or Allied Strike even. My history of Gun Griffin goes back to the Sega Saturn version. I've got a thing for mech games, and so, you know, I played the original one on the Saturn. I know there's a Gun Griffin 2 for the Saturn as well, but it only came out in Japan. And then one of the very first games I played on my PS2 when I got that, I got it from Blockbuster Video actually, was Gun Griffin Blaze. And I had no idea this actually existed until, like, you know, a couple of years ago when I obviously bought it. And yeah, it's, again, more of the same. Big robots sliding around on wheels, jumping high, and blowing tanks up. One of my all-time favourite games. I've even been playing it on the old Retron. Doom. Doom 3. This is the collector's edition in the metal tin with the plastic cover over it. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I've even got this for the 360. I've got the BFG edition, but Doom 3 for the Xbox really pushes the hardware. You can see like all the shadows. You know, you can tell that it's really all the custom hardware in the Xbox is being employed to run this game. You couldn't put Doom 3 in the same, you know, with the same graphical fidelity on either the PS2 or the GameCube. And when I first played that, it kind of dawned on me that's why I've got this massive hunk of a console, because I wanted to play Doom 3. It's got ridiculously long load times, and yeah, it's just great to see this on a console back then was brilliant. I first played Doom 3 on my PC, and it was a Celeron. It had a Celeron processor in it, like 2 GHz Celeron processor, and I think I had something like 300 and something gig of or megabytes of memory, because they had like a 128 and a 256 RAM, because it's all I could afford, and like a crappy like Radeon, ATI Radeon graphics card that I got off eBay, and it really like grinded through Doom 3, and yeah, when it came out on the Xbox, I was like, right, forget that, I'm not playing that anymore. I think it's probably the only time in the history of like the internet that someone said I couldn't play it on my PC, so I got it on the Xbox and it was better, and it was. So anyway, moving on. Jaeger is a cool open world space flight simulator where you play like these massive, like epic shoot 'em up battles over these fantastic, like just mind-bogglingly large landscapes. It's a really beautiful game, to be honest. Yeah, another one that probably wouldn't have been the same on the PS2. I don't think it is on the PS2, to be honest. I think it's an Xbox exclusive. More arcade anthology type stuff. This is arcade classics. This one's got Hydro Thunder on it, and Rush the Rock. Even I do like the San Francisco Rush games, and that's pretty much why I bought it. The other video I've got on YouTube, which you'll probably see if you go through the other ones, is like a 3-way battle between Rush 2049 on the Dreamcast, the N64, and the Xbox. And this is the version that I used for the Xbox video. Yeah, it's great, really. It's the thing I like about this anthology. It's got like more modern arcade games on it. So you've got, like I say, Hydro Thunder, Rush the Rock, Rush 2049, Off Road Thunder, which was like an off-road four-wheel drive game that was meant to be coming to the Dreamcast but didn't. Part of the Thunder series, along with like what's the other one? Snowman. It's like a snowmobile game. Arctic Thunder. That was it. That was another one that was meant to be coming to the Dreamcast but didn't. Right, down to the last few now. One of these is quite appropriate. First one is Crimson Skies. I believe this is one of the first Xbox Live games where you could play it like online against other people and like have massive battles. I'm going to be honest, I've not actually played this one yet. Look, I paid $2.99 for it and I've still not played it. But it was quite an early one. So Project Gotham Racing, again, as I said earlier, the spiritual successor to MSR. Great game still, but if I've got to play one of the two, it would automatically be Project Gotham 2. Half-Life 2, quite appropriately, with the old hoodie on. Yeah, what can you say about that? Interesting, if you put the one for the Xbox 360 side by side with this, there is a massive gulf in like visual quality. But then you've got to take into consideration that this is on a system that's from a generation before. So if you get the orange box for the Xbox 360 and play Half-Life 2, and then play Half-Life 2 on the original Xbox, yeah, you can see quite a few. Basically, the best way I could describe it is if you have the PC version on for the 360, you've got everything turned up full, all the graphical effects, reflections, all that stuff. And then for the original Xbox version, you've got everything put to low. So like reflections aren't real time. There's no like real-time shadows or anything like that. It still looks great, and again, this is a game that is for this generation is only on the Xbox. It's not on the PS2. It's not on the GameCube. Probably because it needed a hard drive. I'm speculating. It's probably got nothing to do with that, but that's just what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's Half-Life 2, and the last one on the list is this Conquer Live and Reloaded. I do have Conquer on the N64, but it's not the actual cartridge. I've got an EverDrive, so I've got the ROM on my EverDrive, and I played it through that. And yeah, this is basically that game, but everything just like turned up to 10. I'm trying to remember if it has the same like language and stuff. I don't think it does. I think they cut all the like the swearing and like the references to like sex and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, for that it loses something of the like the unique British humour that Conquer on the N64 had. It's kind of like it reminds me of like if there was like a Monty Python-esque style game on the N64, and then the Xbox version is like massively cleaned up. Still a great game though. Anyway, that's my brief, well I say brief, what's been going for now, 28 minutes. That's my brief history with the Xbox. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and as ever, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all the comments you leave. I do get around to answering them eventually. Yeah, thank you.